All right, well, as of right now, according to my fancy X-Sure Bitcoin ticker, Bitcoin's at $17,700, so let's talk about something else. How about Web5? Okay, I know what you guys are thinking, but let me explain. The name Web5 is just a marketing gimmick, and it has nothing to do with Web3 and all the innumerable shitcoins that populate it. In fact, Web5 is a new set of web protocols with no tokens, which intends to solve a very practical problem: the ownership of data and identity. Now, what does this have to do with Bitcoin? After all, this is a strictly Bitcoin YouTube channel. Well, in this video, I want to explain to you what the Web5 thing is and how Bitcoin fits into all of it. The web today is centralized. Quoting from the official website, Web5 is, quote, an extra decentralized web that puts you in control of your data and identity, end quote. Source in the description. But what's the point, you might ask? Isn't the web already becoming more decentralized day by day thanks to technologies like Bitcoin and the Lightning Network, and many of us already running our own Bitcoin and Lightning nodes? Well, yes, but there are problems left unsolved that ultimately come down to the same root: centralization. You see, in the web like we know it today, you, the individual, is treated as a consumer. Your data is not yours, but it has become the property of big mega companies like Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and all the typical players. Now, these companies use this data to train their very own increasingly intelligent algorithms and AIs with the sole purpose of making you buy more. I mean, that's just how the internet works today. The fundamental problem of the centralization of web can be found in really three different aspects that I'm going to tell you all about right now. One, you have no real free speech. Now, before you are allowed to talk on the web, you have to really ask permission, and you're witnessing more and more of this reality on all the different platforms. Right now, there's a whole firestorm going on with Twitter, for example. I mean, we'll see how it goes with Elon Musk, but so far, if you say something that he doesn't like or goes against the platform rules, regardless of whether it is true or not, really, the tweet could be removed or could be promoted by the algorithm depending on who's in charge at Twitter tomorrow. And the account can be censored or even deleted. And this is not just a problem with Twitter. You see, it is a fallacy of centralization. Even the company with the absolute best of intentions. You see, once it becomes large enough to attract the attention of things like governments and regulators, well, it eventually becomes vulnerable to political and economic influences and pressures. We're seeing this right now with Elon Musk tweeting about so many people leaving Twitter, because Twitter is a business that needs to make money, and if advertisers leave them, well, they can't offer and promote true free speech. It just won't mesh well with brands. This would be very different in a decentralized internet, a decentralized version of something like Twitter. Number two, you have no property. See, as we said before, your data is not actually yours. It's stored on the servers of big companies who have every interest in never giving it back to you. See, regulations and the laws like those in the European Union with GDPR, as always, do not completely help solve the problem, but they only shift the battlefield from a coder's keyboard to the, let's be honest, useless courts. Data is the new oil, but this oil, unlike real oil, is a byproduct of user activities. Today, although users produce it, only a few companies actually get to monetize it. And that data is yours. Number three, there is no you online. Now this might sound really strange, but there's actually no you on the web. Wait, Jonathan. What does that even mean? Now, let me explain. Your digital identity is what others refer to when they point at you on the web. It could be your Google or your Twitter accounts, or even a simple email account. Anything really that is used by others to identify and communicate with you. But on the web, you don't have an identity. You only have accounts. Think about it. if you need to write to someone, you go ahead and go send a message or an email on any of your various accounts, not to the person, but to his or her account. But here's the thing. An account is really just a contract between you and the platform owner. You can easily be banned, censored, excluded, or erased, all without crossing the agreement's limits. Now, Web5 proposes to be the solution. Amazingly, there is already a proposed solution to all three of these problems, and it is the topic of this video. And again, it has nothing to do with crypto or Web3, which in its current state is just a collection of Ponzi schemes covered by a layer of aggressive marketing. Yeah, I don't like crypto. In fact, Web5, at least the way that folks like Jack Dorsey are talking about it today, is about doing fewer things on a blockchain, not more. So without further talk, let's explain how Web5 aims to decentralize the web, looking at its three main components. But first, I want to give a quick thanks to today's video sponsor, Voltage. No conversation about the future of the internet and web decentralized infrastructure would be complete without talking about Voltage. Voltage allows you to spool up your very own Bitcoin node, Lightning Network routing node, BTC Pay installation, LN-Bits installation, or anything else, giving your business access to an enterprise-grade Lightning and Bitcoin infrastructure to run your business operations. Whether you're setting up an e-commerce store and want to accept Bitcoin quickly, easily, and without intermediaries and fees, or you're actually developing something on the Lightning Network, Voltage is your one-click solution. For my project, where we are developing a community node for the members of Kwame Sperkstroot, Voltage provided us with a quick and easy to set up cloud node that we had up and running in minutes. Their service is fast, easy, and they can even manage the liquidity of your node for you as an additional service. To check Voltage out and set up your very own enterprise-grade Bitcoin and Lightning node today, click the link in the description or visit voltage.cloud. All right, let's talk about those three main components of Web5. The first is decentralized identifiers, or DIDs. A DID is a digital identifier that doesn't require a centralized registration authority to actually work. It uses public key cryptography similar to what's used in Bitcoin for signing transactions and verifying signatures. Now, let's put it simple. If you own the private key, you are the master of your DID. You own it. This means that no one other than yourself can dictate what you means on the web. No platform will be able to change that, no matter how hard they try or how badly you break their rules. In fact, DIDs function cross-platform on all sites that enable this type of technology. This way, if one platform misbehaves, then you can easily move to another platform without losing your contacts and your followings and your reputation. Now, in an era of shadow bans and cancel culture, this is a game changer for creators like me. I no longer have to worry if YouTube deletes my account, causing me to lose my community and months, if not years of work. The second component is verifiable credentials. Verifiable credentials are digital and cryptographic certificates linked to a DID. Now this gets a little confusing, but stick with me. Verifiable credentials are digital and cryptographic certificates linked to a DID. Now with these VCs, or verifiable credentials, you'll be able to prove claims that are cryptographically verifiable and privacy preserving. Now, that's super confusing, so let's take an example. In today's technological age, there is simply no way to prove digitally if a person actually possesses a diploma or degree without calling on the phone the university or college, and honestly, I think that's absolutely crazy. Don't you? With DIDs and VCs, you will be able to present a cryptographic proof signed that proves that you own the degree and that this degree was issued by a valid college or university. Now, the verification will be instant and completely deterministic because of the magic of cryptography. Now, we're not talking here about some kind of NFT, We're talking just about a cryptographic signature, a format, and a protocol for just being able to verify that information, not putting it on the blockchain like Ethereum aspires to do, not these ridiculous NFTs, just a cryptographic way for you to hold something and be able to prove its validity. Now, in the age of fake news and AIs that can produce an infinite amount of content at almost no cost, it is of the utmost importance to be able to prove what is true and what is not, and to be able to do so quickly and affordably. Furthermore, VCs, again, verifiable credentials, are privacy preserving because they follow the principle of minimizing data disclosure, just like Bitcoin. For example, if a minimal age is required for buying alcohol, for example, your age doesn't actually have to be disclosed. Instead, you can just present a cryptographic proof to the shop owner that has the ability to assert that you are old enough for that type of product. You don't need to actually give the specific age. The third and final component is decentralized web nodes. And this is the one that I think is going to be really relevant for all of us Bitcoiners and Lightning node enthusiasts. See, a decentralized web node is, quote, a standard for data storage and relay that enables entities of any type to send and store encrypted or public messages and data. Again, that's a real doozy, so let me reframe this in much more simple terms. You own your DID just like you own your Bitcoins in cold storage, and that ownership is guaranteed by the private key that only you know and have access to. But just like money is useless if you are prevented from actually spending it and using it in a transaction, the same is true for your online identity if you cannot talk to people or share information with others. And this is the problem solved by DWNs, or decentralized web nodes. Anyone will be able to run his or her own DWN on their computer or even a Raspberry Pi 4 at home. Now this implies two things. First, you will always maintain control over your data. And number two, you do not have to ask anyone's permission to speak on the internet. Now let's talk about the role of Bitcoin. You see, at this point, I may have convinced you that Web5 is a somewhat interesting project aligned with the core values of all of us Bitcoiners. But there is more. Now there are two roles that Bitcoin directly plays within this idea of Web5. The first one is, of course, the money of the internet. Being the absolute most decentralized digital money and the only one that is truly and verifiably unstoppable, Bitcoin is the #1 candidate to become the native currency of the internet. And thanks to the Lightning Network, Bitcoin is not only becoming a recognized store of value, but it is also being used as a medium of exchange every single day. Now, Web5 aims to integrate with Bitcoin and the Lightning Network for building that ultimate payment system of the future internet. Number two, securing the DIDs. For the most part, the technology that secures the DIDs is the good old public key cryptography. In fact, talks about private messaging and data ownership go all the way back to the cypherpunk movement of the 1990s, the same group of people that eventually gave birth to Satoshi, creator of Bitcoin. But one thing that was preventing this reality from actually coming to fruition, one very, very crucial problem, would not have been solved without Bitcoin. You see, DIDs should not be static, but they have to evolve over time as keys and endpoints change. For the sake of simplicity, let's say that the endpoints are the devices on which you want to actually receive the messages we're talking about. Rotating keys is one of those cryptographic best practices because the more you encrypt with one key, the more information you inadvertently release and the more vulnerable you are. Now, this is really problematic because digital identities should last for a very long time, ideally for your entire lifetime or even beyond if the owner wishes. So simply using a public key as your online digital identity would really be impossible because you would be forced to change it in a short time to avoid compromising its safety. This is the same reason we don't reuse Bitcoin addresses. So what was needed to solve this problem was a tamper-proof record, an immutable lineage for keys and endpoints, and that is where Bitcoin comes in. The Bitcoin blockchain is the most truthful record that exists in the history of the world. See, by anchoring DID operations directly onto the Bitcoin blockchain, our digital identities maintain maximum security while having the potential to really last forever. And again, this isn't some NFT stored on the blockchain. It can be an entirely different layer. For example, the ION protocol, a Bitcoin layer 2, is responsible for anchoring DID operations directly into the blockchain following the existing Bitcoin rules. Now, let me know in the comments below if you want a dedicated deep dive video on how ION works. I personally don't understand it, but I'd be really happy to research it and learn about it if it's something that all of you want to learn about. And I'll put some resources in the description below so you can read about it if you want to. Okay. We've come to the end of this in-depth video on understanding Web5, where we've come to realize that although the name is reminiscent of Web3, the reality is that the former is, in my view, a very interesting project that all Bitcoiners should at least be somewhat aware of. By the way, this video would not have been possible without the help of @Pipelia. Pip is the Web5 guy, and as you can guess from the name on his Twitter profile, you can find guides, explanations, and insights about the Web5 project and all about Bitcoin. So go take a look because I honestly knew nothing about Web5 before I met Pip. That's it for today's video, and again, I want to thank you all for watching it, and let me know in the comment below if you like this video, and please consider subscribing and smashing the like button to help grow this channel because it does make a really big difference. Thanks, and take care.